r/ask Reddit. What felt like a useless piece of advice until you actually tried it? Clean as you cook, dishes right away, and 10 minutes every day walking through the house picking things up organizing. So much better than hours of cleaning on one day. Biggest game changer here. Prep your food. Start baking, cooking, boiling. Get on those dishes while it's cooking. Serve up the food. Immediately toss leftovers into storage containers before eating and get in soaking those pots and pans. Enjoy the meal. Rinse plates immediately before food cakes on. And clean the remaining dishes. Clears up so much more time waiting for things to soak and scrubbing harder. I've got young kids and grad school after work. This is the only way I can cook now and keep on top of dishes. Slack even one night and I pay for it severely the next day. Compliment people behind their backs. Sounds stupid but works wonders. I'd never say this to her face, but she's a wonderful person and a gifted artist. I'm not a racist, but I think everyone should be treated equally. Turn it off and turn it back on. This applies to everything that has a computer or any sort of electronic. People laugh at me when I ask them, have you tried turning it off and back on again? Yes, but when that's all your IT office knows how to do. Fans on my old MacBook died. Saw a YouTube video that said to simply take your fist and bang on the part of the computer that housed the fans. Thinking it was a troll, I gave it a shot out of pure frustration. And lo and behold, they purred back to life and I never had another issue with them for the rest of the time that I owned that computer. Percussion adjustment is a magical tool that works more often than you'd think it would. Today I learned, percussion adjustment, knock it till it works. If it takes less than 5 minutes, do it immediately. Do so much less housework on weekends because of this. Edited to add, thank you for the golds and the silvers. This is my first gold and I'm stoked it was for this comment. I hope this has helped motivate others who are in the same boat I was a few years ago. Strive for progression, not perfection. The fact that it takes less than 5 minutes is what makes me spend a lot more than 5 minutes on it. I don't think masturbating counts. Cleaning your house before leaving for more than 5 days. Nothing is better than coming to a clean house. I travel a lot for work and can sometimes be gone for 2 to 3 weeks at a time. There is nothing worse than finally coming home and remembering how bad you left the place. I learned this real quick and make a point to clean up before I leave. Faking confidence to become more confident. Edit. Thanks for the gold and the silver, kind strangers. I 100% agree with this, but where I have seen people go wrong with this is thinking that exuding confidence equals being an a-hole. There is a very major distinction between them. I didn't even think about that. I've seen quite a bit of that too. I'm not sure how to explain the line between the two well, though. Unclench your jaw, open your hands, drop your shoulders, and breathe in. I just dropped my phone, comma. Stop holding it with your mouth then. When you're trying to fall asleep and your mind is racing thinking about a million things at once, making it impossible to fall asleep, do this. Pick a letter of the alphabet, count to 8 when you get to 8. Think of a word that starts with your letter, count to 8 again, think of a different word that starts with that letter, repeat ad nauseum. You'll distract your brain and bore it to sleep. When I can't sleep, I pick a subject and come up with an example for every letter of the alphabet. Repeat as necessary. Albania, Bahamas, Cambodia, Denmark, England, France, Guyana, etc. Apple, blueberry, cantaloupe, durian, elderberry, fig, grape, etc. Anchovy, barracuda, carp, damselfish, flounder, grouper, etc. Insomnia is a beach. Edit, eel. I have had trouble sleeping in hotels, and I travel a lot for work. I've gotten into these songs on YouTube that use delta waves and it's working miracles on me. I don't care if it's science or bullshit, and I don't even want to look it up because it's going so well for me. Edit. So tempted to rickroll the duck out of you guys, but this sleep track literally ducks me up. https://yauto bxq6xgdi7whc edit 2. Seriously, I'm pretty stoked that this helped so many people. Anyone reading this, I highly recommend you look through the responses to this comment and see all the different apps, websites, and tactics. Good luck and happy sleeping everyone. Red heart. Experience is what you get when you don't get what you want. I thought depression is what you get when you don't get what you want. Depression equals experience. Practice gratitude. Grateful people are happy people. This includes just saying thank you anytime someone does something. Everyone likes to be acknowledged for something, even if it's something small, and just making other people a little happier makes you happier, and I imagine even just noticing how much others do for you is bound to help. So I usually cook dinner, but tonight I was in the middle of something when dinner needed to get started, so my husband did it. When I got my plate, I thanked him for cooking dinner. He said, "I'm sorry the pork chops are over seasoned." I said, "I haven't even tried them yet, but they're delicious." You know what the best spice is? Food somebody else cooked for you. Absolutely. I know he's not a gourmet chef, but I appreciate the hell out of somebody else cooking for me. If you have a clogged nose, doing 8-10 push-ups will temporarily clear it up. Edit. Hey, thanks for the silver, open bracket, and the gold. Is this just to get me to try to actually do a push-up? Haha, one would assume, but no, it legit works. Flip a coin and choose the one you're hoping for. I don't even have to flip a coin now and I'm way more decisive. I do this a lot and it works amazingly well. You don't know what you really want unless you're put under pressure, even if said pressure is as small as a coin flip. BTW, I didn't know what to call it, so I said pressure. And if you still can't decide, go with whatever the coin said. If the two choices are that neck and neck, it's better to just pick something than spend time agonizing trying to pick the right thing. Also, if you just pick something, and it turns out wrong, that's a great learning opportunity. Then you'll have more information next time you make a similar choice. Try killing roaches with soapy water in a spray bottle. It sounds useless, but it works better than any insecticide I've ever tried. And it's non-toxic and really easy to clean up. My dad once had a customer in a very run-down apartment complex. He went into a unit that, typically in this apartment building, is crawling with roaches. A little old lady lived there and he didn't notice a single roach. The secret? Boric acid mixed with sweetened condensed milk. Mix until it's dough-like. Stick small balls in places where kids and animals cannot reach. The roaches take it back to their nests and it destroys them all. I grew up in a very old home and I can only recall roaches once. My dad did this trick and I never saw another for about 7 years. Cheap and extremely effective. Edited for spelling it sweet and condensed. Hey, I thought it was funny. A few more edits. Thanks for the precious metals, guys. I'm reading a ton of folks say it works on ants too. Score. Also, yes, you can sprinkle the boric acid. Some are saying borax works too. On the floor, but I like the balls because there's no dealing with a dust layer. To hide them, drop them behind a refrigerator, in a hole under the sink, above a kitchen cabinet. Is it toxic to kids' pets? I was assuming so. Many say no, but I'd rather just keep them up and away and not have to find out. Don't need any diarrhea or vomiting in my life at the moment. I have no idea why it works for years, but I'm guessing it's because roaches feed on each other when they die, so the dead ones become poison to the living ones. So the ratio of dead ones continues to increase. Oh, and I'm not a man. Please don't ever delete this because one day if I have roaches I will dig through my saved comments looking for this. Go to the bathroom first thing after having sex. Bold of you to assume I have sex. Don't half-ass two things. Whole-ass one thing. Pretty much everything Ron says has helped me at one point or another. I remind myself of this line constantly. I am the type of person, while cleaning, who will pick up one item to put it where it goes in the other room. Then, while walking up the stairs, we'll see that the little stair mats are crooked on a few of the stairs, and struggle to straighten them while holding the first thing that hasn't been put back yet. I consciously stop myself, sometimes saying out loud one thing, and then I'm able to focus and remind myself to put the first thing away, and then come back to the stairs, and to put blinders on the other little things that I notice in between those two things. 2. LOL. Directly expressing my needs instead of hinting. That's secret number 1 for a successful, long-lasting marriage. Number 2 is, marriage is work, but it's worth it. Edit. Thanks for all the comments, upvotes, And silver. Source. I'm old. Married long time. One day at a time. It's been helping me stay focused in the now. My grandma, rest her soul, gave me a similar piece of advice, but with a variant. If you feel like you can't survive a week, focus on getting through one day. One day too much, 1 hour too much, 1 minute, whatever it takes. If you can survive one, you can survive another. Edit. Reddit gold. Whoa dude. Really all I can think is grandma would have been so happy to know that a lesson she taught me is being shared and hopefully heard by so many people. Is your grandma Kimmy Schmidt? Your gums bleed when you floss because you don't floss enough. Turns out if you floss enough, your gums won't be inflamed so they don't bleed when you floss. It's true. Or at least get an electric toothbrush. Source. I'm dental hygienist. Putting cold water on freshly shaved skin will make it so you don't get ingrown hairs. Some of the best advice I've ever received. How is this not common knowledge? I've struggled with ingrown hairs from shaving for years and no one ever recommended this. Not even my doctor. So much aggravation I could have avoided with one tip. It was part of the process when my dad taught me how to shave. Shave immediately after you've come out the shower. Your pores will be more open. Alternatively, fill the sink up with warm water and splash it on your face. Pat dry. Shave. Wash face with cold water. Moisturize. My dad always told me ask anyway. The worst they can say is no when buying something or when I needed something from another person. It seemed stupid to ask if I was sure they would say no, but I was also a socially anxious kid. Turns out that advice has helped me with school, with raises, with people in general, with plans with new friends. Another thing, a stupid question is better than a stupid mistake. I wish more folks in college knew this. The whole room doesn't understand something but everyone thinks they will look stupid if they ask a question. Smart people are smart because they sought answers they didn't know. Stick to the same sleep schedule on your days off that you follow on days when you have to be somewhere at a specific time, like school or work days. I spent my whole life sleeping until noon on weekends, thinking I was storing sleep in some imaginary sleep bank. I recently started waking up early on weekends, and now I don't have trouble waking up when my alarm goes off during the week. Plus I have all this extra time to do stuff because I'm not sleeping all day. Life is really much easier if you clean your workplace room. I clean my room often and it makes me feel calm and clears my head. No greater feeling than coming home to a clean bedroom after working late. Spend an extra $5 to $10 on wiper blades. Ricordo commonly does closeouts on high quality wiper blades for like $2.3 a piece. The type you normally pay $20.30 for. I buy like 5 sets at a time to save on shipping. Spend less than $40 on enough really nice wipers to last me a few years. Edit. I have no affiliation with Ricordo, just a customer. Fill your tank all the way up instead of a little at a time. The less fuel in my motorcycle, the easier she'll wheelie. Yeehaw brother. It's better to lose a second of your life than to lose your life in a second. People on the road need to just slow down a little. It'll save your life. Edit. Thank you for the silvers and gold, kind strangers. And stay off your goddamn phone. Pay bills. Save. Then spend. In regards to saving, I was always told pay your bills. Pay yourself. Then spend. If you feel like quitting, then just tell yourself that the story doesn't end this way. Sounds cliche, but you decide when your story ends when you stop trying. You may fail, but you will not fail today. Don't let the story end this way. There's what you need, there's what you want, and there's what you can't afford. My dad says this all the time, and I never thought of it as useless. I just never used it. Now I have, and my money is far easier to manage. If you can't buy it twice, you can't afford it. Jay-Z. My philosophy playing RPGs as a kid. Never take I-90 through Chicago, my sister said to me in 2002. Yep, okay, thanks was my reply. In 2004, just over the border of Wisconsin, we stopped for gas. We were on day 3 of our drive back from Yellowstone and had been on the road for almost 2 weeks in total. Funds were low. There was nothing left for another hotel that night. It was 11 AM. Our calculations, pre-GPS, had us home at about 1 AM. We looked at the map, saw the upcoming highway split and were debating between heading straight for I-80 or staying on I-90. Well, the last sign said 90 minutes to Chicago. May as well have a deep dish pizza for lunch. Plus, it looks like a more direct route. Mistakes were made. At 3 p.m. we had admitted defeat. There would be no lunch. The infinite traffic wouldn't allow for it. By 4 p.m. my will was broken. I pulled the e-brake, opened my door, and walked from the middle lane to the ditch just after a bridge to relieve the pressure in my bladder. Shortly after we would say duck this. Let's just get off here. That too was a mistake. The signs were in Spanish. The route back to the highway eluded us. We weren't even sure what time zone we were in. We asked a guy at the corner at a red light, "Hey man, what time is it?" I'll never forget his response. "Your mother." At 6:30 p.m. we finally drove past what is now Guaranteed Rate Park, fully immersed in Chicago rush hour. An hour later we crossed into Indiana. Broken people. We had an utterly forgettable pizza, got back on the road, and endured a drive home that lasted well past dawn. "I told you to never take I-90 through Chicago," my sister said to me when I told her our tale of that day. She was right. I should have remembered that. A fellow Chicagoan here can confirm. This advice definitely helps. Going to therapy. I'm a guy. I'm emotionally stable. So I thought it was a pointless idea. Went with my ex-GF in order to work out problems in our relationship, mostly on her end. I learned so much about myself and got some amazing life advice. 10 out of 10. My ex-GF. In order to work out problems in our relationship. Just because relationships don't always end game doesn't mean that they are failures. From a YouTube video dictated by a heavily accented doctor, unclog your nose by sitting up straight, holding your breath and tapping your nose, untapping and breathing into about 80% of what you'd normally breathe in. Exhale, and repeat for a period of about 40 seconds to a minute. The point is to get a response to where your body almost feels like it's drowning. It's tough, but it clears your sniffles right up for a long while and works 90% of the time. Then I went on to suggest it to so many people, but they won't believe me or try it even if they are desperate. Edit. My native Spanish was showing through. Used a false cognate. What I meant by tapping was tapper, which means to cover. I just want to ask a serious question because I need this. When you say untapping, what do you mean? Turn your nose sideways to tap it for 2 nostril manner. Turn it right side up at the beginning of your turn to untap it. You're not hungry, you're thirsty. I would eat a big meal and wonder why I still felt hungry. It is because I wasn't drinking a glass of water with my meal. Now if I notice I am hungry after eating normal portions, I have a glass of water and wait 5 minutes before I continue eating. Wash your dishes immediately after using them. It really helps avoid unnecessary clutter and you ending up like this. Why are you personally attacking me right now? When I've got stuff going on the stove or something, I start washing dishes. Anything in the oven doesn't need my eye on it if there's a timer, so might as well get some of the little stuff out of the way. Everyone in my family is always in awe of how clean the kitchen looks when I've just been the equivalent of a cooking typhoon in there. Not taking your cell phone into bed with you. After a while you will sleep much easier without a distraction and blue light shining straight into your eyes before bed. Sounds like a good idea. Me on my phone in bed at 10 p.m. Sounds like a good idea for tomorrow. Me on my phone in bed at 2 a.m. every night. As someone with a phobia of needles my entire life, I finally, 30 years in, had a nurse tell me to ask for a spare alcohol pad and sniff it right as I'm about to get jabbed. She said the harsh smell is enough of a distraction to keep your mind off the needle. I was there for a flu shot, so I got to try it out right away. I wasn't expecting much, but it worked. I've been doing it ever since, and have no trouble with shots or blood draws now, which is huge for someone they've triggered panic attacks and near fainting in before. Edit. Thank you for the silver. Hoping this helps everyone as much as it helped me. Explain it to the nurse who's doing your shot blood draw, too. I always do, in hopes that they'll remember and use it next time they have someone who struggles with needles, and pass the knowledge along. That forest app. It grows a tree for up to 2 hours, and during that time, you can't access any apps you think will distract you. If you wanna open a distracting app, you'd have to kill your tree. All your trees, dead or alive, appear in a little forest. I have always had trouble motivating myself to focus on homework and not look at Reddit YouTube. But this app is just enough guilt to not open them. I haven't killed anything yet and I'm surprised at how much I can care about a small virtual tree. But people told me about it and I just completely assumed that I'd never use it or it wouldn't work for me considering how distractible I am. But it works wonders. Goodbye, Reddit. Keeping my shoulders back. It was a suggestion I saw for preventing panic anxiety. IDK what it is. But when your shoulders are in that position it gives some strange feeling of control. I also read somewhere that during panic attacks the body basically wants to curl into fetal position for protection. So I feel like focusing on keeping your arms down and shoulders back is a conscious way to go against that and stay grounded in reality. Works for me. Could work for you too. Before I do anything I ask myself, would an idiot do that? And if the answer is yes, I do not do that thing. Don't stop or change what you are doing when giving oral sex to a female. Specifically, at least for me, when I'm about to come don't suddenly go super hard. It's probably different for everyone but man, the number of times I've lost an orgasm because of this. So very true. For both genders I think. That thing you're doing that feels so good, don't change it when I get close. My doctor told me when I feel anxious or something like that to wiggle my toes and count them for every wiggle. It is something that distracts your mind and you can do it anywhere cause it just means moving your toes. Edit. I am fairly new to Reddit and I just got a sliver thanks guys edit. SHSHDH I got a gold wow this is cool I never had this before. Thank you guys so much. My grandfather told me this and I never understood it until I had my own place. Always buy the cheap tools at first and if you wear it out break it then you use it enough to justify getting a nicer more expensive one. I guess with power tools and stuff. But my grandfather used to say the opposite, I'm not rich enough to buy cheap things. I still have his tools. Think pliers, screwdrivers, files. Lefty loosey, righty tighty. I say this under my breath every time I'm tightening or loosening something. Stop chasing girls. Most times now they notice me as an individual, not as someone begging for a girlfriend. Women want to feel like people, not prey. I always did so poorly at bars and parties and my cool friend told me girls want to be with the guy who is having the most fun. It seriously was a night and day difference. I started just having fun and getting games going and being funny and it worked wonders. If you can tell that someone is going to hit you, tilt your head down. Teeth don't grow back. Your jaw is lights out. If they punch the top of your skull, they will probably break their hand. Always be drunk. Give up caffeine to help with anxiety. I gave it up to help with my vertigo years after this was first suggested to me, but it did help. I'm still anxious as duck but I'm not reacting to it like a hummingbird on cocaine anymore. Don't suffer future pain. In other words, worrying about all the stuff that could happen stops you from doing things and worse, turns potential pain into actual worry and mental pain. In regards to dating, you'll find someone when you're not looking. Sounds like total BS, but it's proven true for me a few times. Edit. This also assumes that you go do social things sometimes. This absolutely will not work if you just sit at work home all day. Should probably add that you need to be interacting with people in general for this to work. Extreme introverts shouldn't use this as an excuse not to go outside. When it comes to smoking cigarettes or weed it's easy to do it all the time. Easy to never do it. Damn hard to only do it once in a while. I needed to hear this. Thank you, Papa. This too shall pass. On those days when I just feel like I can't take it I think of that. And I know tomorrow will be different. Someone once told me, tomorrow may not be better, but at least it'll be different. In a strange way that too is comforting. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content bruh. It's free and that's a great price.